Welcome to Talented Detective. Today we will come to Story, the murderer in the shadows of the city, in the heart of the city, hidden in dark streets and deadly secrets. A series of horrific murders occur at night. The victims are all murdered in remote places, leaving a strange mark on their wrists, a small star shape. Jack, a young detective with outstanding talent, is assigned to investigate. Together with Clara, a brave and sharp journalist, they quickly realize that these murders are not just the actions of a madman, but are also related to a mysterious criminal network called the Shadows. As they gradually explore, they face threats, thrilling chases, and unexpected betrayals. In the battle between light and darkness, Jack and Clara must fight with cunning enemies, risking their lives to expose the truth. But will they have the strength to overcome it all, when darkness not only exists out there but also infiltrates deep into the places they trust the most? The darkness is coming. Are you ready to step in? Part 1, the beginning of the story. Jack, 24, a teammate of such talent that it makes one wonder if he has really only just reached that threshold. As a talented young detective of the city police force, Jack is often the one to handle confusing cases that need to be solved quickly. However, he never thought that at this age he would have to face one of the strangest cases he has ever worked on. In the heart of the city, confused with rumors and fear, a series of murders have taken place in the dark. The victims, all attacked in areas with few people, all bear a strange mark, a small cut in the shape of a star on their right wrist. Jack takes on the case and quickly cooperates with Clara, a journalist in her 30s, who always carries determination and a notebook to record important details. At first, their exchanges were tense, as Clara doubted Jack's judgment of his work, while he felt that the journalist was a bit of a prude. However, as they worked together, they realized that Clara's reasoning and keen observations complemented Jack's focused and forceful style. They began to share and analyze what they learned from the scenes. The first scene Jack and Clara visited was a shocking one. The victim was an office worker, stabbed to death near the back door of the building where they worked. The detailed backtracking and star-shaped markings on his hand left both of them breathless. Why would the killer leave such a clear mark? Clara discovered that the victim was clutching a torn piece of paper with a single line written on it, "Darkness is coming." In the following days, Jack and Clara spent hours analyzing the clues, recalling similar cases that had occurred before. They discover that each victim is closely connected to a mysterious organization calling itself the Shadow. This organization is believed to operate beneath the city's surface, responsible for many of the unsolved crimes. As Clara digs deeper into old newspaper articles, Jack interviews people who knew the victims. The deeper they dig, the more horrifying details they uncover, as a trail of evidence leads them closer to the city's most powerful people. As they come under pressure from higher-ups for failing to quickly find the killer, Jack and Clara become even more determined. They begin to uncover a criminal network more complex than anything they've ever encountered. Part 2, the Shadows are here. Jack and Clara receive an anonymous letter sent to the police headquarters. The letter contains a star similar to the one on the victims, along with the words, "Don't try to go too far, or the next star will be yours." This not only makes them feel pressured, but they also begin to suspect that the killer may be watching their every move. Jack tries to track down the source of the letter, but all traces lead to dead ends. Meanwhile, Clara discovers that all the victims used to work for a financial company called Astra Corporation. A company that appears to operate legitimately, but is rumored to be a front for massive underground deals. To get close to Astra Corp, Clara poses as a job seeker, while Jack teams up with a hacker named Mike to break into the company's data system. What they discover makes both of them shudder. Astra Corp is actually the center of a criminal network that includes drug trafficking, money laundering, and even contract killing. In a dangerous encounter, Clara is discovered while collecting information in the company's office. A thrilling chase ensues, but with her quick thinking, she escapes the dangerous situation and brings back important documents related to a man named Mr. Luke, the head of this network. Jack and Clara decide to set up an ambush to capture one of Mr. Luke's henchmen for questioning. However, the plan does not go smoothly when their team is ambushed in return. During the clash, Jack is slightly injured, but thanks to Clara's timely support, the two escape. Through the remaining clues, they discover that Mr. Luke is an extremely cautious character, frequently changing his residence and using many different identities. This further increases the challenge for Jack and Clara. Despite the increasingly dangerous situation, Jack and Clara refuse to give up. They piece together the evidence they have collected and realize that there is a crucial link, a secret auction organized by Astra Corp, where Mr. Luke is scheduled to appear. They decide to disguise themselves to infiltrate the event. The tension reaches its peak when Jack and Clara enter the auction hall. Everything seems to be going well until Clara suddenly recognizes a familiar face in the crowd, a powerful figure she once interviewed, now involved in this criminal network. Jack and Clara are exposed at the auction. They face the risk of being arrested or even killed. But before that happens, an unexpected person appears, creating an unexpected twist, opening a new chapter in the investigation. Part 3: The War in the Shadows. The one who appears to save Jack and Clara is none other than Mike, the hacker Jack once worked with. Mike had been monitoring the event from afar, and by hacking into the auction's security system, he created chaos to help the two escape. Upon returning to the safe haven, Mike reveals that he has collected a large amount of information about Mr. Luke through hacking into Astra Corp's system. This data not only points to his next location but also reveals the complex relationship between Mr. Luke and high-ranking officials in the city. Using the information from Mike, Jack and Clara plan to attack an underground facility of Mr. Luke. This is believed to contain important documents related to the criminal network. The raid takes place at night, and with the support of the task force, they successfully seize some important evidence. However, Mr. Luke is always one step ahead. He leaves a defiant message: "Every move you make is in my hands." This not only offends Jack, but also increases his determination to hunt him down. The pressure of the case strains Jack and Clara's relationship. Recent failures have made them suspicious of each other, especially when Clara receives a personal threat against her family. Jack suspects that someone on the inside has leaked information, and Clara begins to feel that working with Jack could put her and her loved ones in danger. Despite their differences, the two must work together for a common goal. They decide to dig deeper into Mr. Luke's network, this time targeting those most loyal to him. Jack and Clara finally find out where Mr. Luke is hiding, an abandoned complex on the outskirts of the city. They devise a detailed plan to break in, but little do they know that Mr. Luke has set a trap. In a tense confrontation, Jack and Clara are forced to use all their skills and wits to escape deadly traps. Mr. Luke makes his first appearance, a cold and scheming man, making the two realize that capturing him is not as easy as they thought. Despite their escape, Jack and Clara pay a heavy price. They lose an important teammate, and the evidence collected during the break-in is also destroyed. However, before leaving, Jack discovers a new clue, a strange necklace left by Mr. Luke, containing a code that leads to his greatest secret. The story continues to unfold with deeper intrigue, as Jack and Clara get closer to the truth, but also face greater danger than ever. Part 4: The Manhunt in the Heart of the City. Jack and Clara receive an important piece of news. One of Mr. Luke's closest henchmen will appear at an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city to make a big deal. This is the only chance to approach and capture this character, and at the same time exploit direct information about Mr. Luke's next plan. With the help of Mike, Jack and Clara plan to break into the warehouse. Both disguise themselves to blend in with the crowd, while the police task force surrounds the outside, ready to act when needed. Inside the warehouse, the atmosphere is tense as the smugglers exchange goods. Jack recognizes Mr. Luke's closest henchman, a large man with a long scar on his neck, standing in command. As Jack and Clara prepare to act, the situation suddenly becomes chaotic. A gunshot rings out, and the smugglers immediately realize that there is someone in the mix. Jack and Clara are exposed and forced to retreat as the men in the warehouse pursue them. A fierce gunfight ensues, and the task force rushes in to rescue them. However, the key henchman manages to escape with some documents. While chasing him through dark alleys, Jack and Clara encounter a series of traps. Clara is slightly wounded, but she manages to keep up with Jack, who is determined not to lose sight of her. Jack eventually catches up with the man, and after a tense hand-to-hand fight, subdues him. At the police station, Jack and Clara interrogate the man. He is initially silent, but with both their patience and tact, he finally opens his mouth. He reveals that Mr. Luke, is preparing a grand plan to eliminate anyone who dares to stand in his way, including Jack and Clara. He also mentions a black file containing a list of high-ranking officials involved in the criminal network. According to the testimony, the black file was hidden in a safe in a remote villa where Mr. Luke often visited. This was the only chance to take him down and expose the entire criminal network. Jack, Clara, and the task force immediately set out for the villa. However, when they arrived, they realized that everything had been prepared in advance. The villa was arranged like a fortress, with a modern security system and dense guards. Mike used his skills to disable the security system, allowing Jack and Clara to break in. In the villa, Jack and Clara discovered the black file hidden in a safe, but when they opened the safe, a time bomb was activated. With little time left, the two had to choose between saving their lives or trying to collect the documents before the bomb exploded. At the decisive moment, Jack and Clara split the task. Clara copied the documents from the safe while Jack tried to disable the bomb. The tension reaches its peak when the countdown clock is only a few seconds away. Just as Jack successfully deactivates the bomb, Mr. Luke suddenly appears and flees in the chaos. Jack and Clara escape the mansion with the black file in hand. However, Mr. Luke is still at large, leaving behind one final threat: "I will be back, and this time you will not have a chance to survive." Part 5, The Final Confrontation. After escaping the mansion with the black file, Jack, Clara, and Mike focus on studying every detail in the documents. The files reveal Mr. Luke's vast network, including high-ranking officials, businessmen, and corrupt law enforcement. This network has penetrated every corner of the city. Meanwhile, Mr. Luke does not sit still. He sends threatening messages, warning that anyone who tries to expose his network will pay with their lives. But Jack and Clara are determined to put all their efforts into their plan to overthrow him, using all their resources to expose the truth. Jack and Clara begin to seek help from trusted allies in the police force and the media. Clara, using her journalistic skills, writes a fiery article, revealing a small part of the black file to put public pressure on the government. This forces the relevant officials to take action to prove their innocence. However, pressure from Mr. Luke begins to expose internal traitors. One of Jack's close associates is discovered to have leaked important information to his organization. This internal confrontation causes great damage to the investigation team, forcing Jack to be more vigilant than ever. Mike tracks down Mr. Luke to an abandoned industrial park on the outskirts of the city, where he is planning to leave the country. Jack, Clara, and a task force are summoned to capture him. When they arrive, they find the industrial park is a maze filled with traps. Mr. Luke not only carefully prepares to protect himself, but also arranges loyal henchmen who are willing to sacrifice themselves to block their path. The chase through the maze is tense, with gunfights and breathtaking clashes. Clara is separated from the team, forcing her to face danger alone. Jack, despite being injured, is determined to rescue Clara and pursue Mr. Luke to the end. Finally, Jack caught up with Mr. Luke in a large warehouse. The two faced off in a breathtaking battle of wits and strength. Mr. Luke, with his calm and confident appearance, tried to persuade Jack to join his side, promising power and wealth. But Jack, with his loyalty and thirst for justice, flatly refused. After a tense battle, Jack finally subdued Mr. Luke and brought him to justice. The task force also promptly rescued Clara and arrested all the remaining members of the network. Thanks to the bravery of Jack, Clara, and the team, the entire criminal network of Mr. Luke was exposed to the public. The officials and businessmen involved were all investigated and brought to trial. The city gradually regained peace after months of darkness. Clara wrote a long article recounting the entire investigation, making her a symbol of truth and courage. Jack, despite receiving much praise, remains humble and continues his detective work, ready to face new challenges. When everything seems to be over, Jack receives an anonymous letter with the words, "Darkness never really goes away. It only lurks, biding its time." This opens up the possibility that hidden dangers are still lurking somewhere, and Jack's journey to justice is not yet completely over. Thank you for watching the detective video with a talented detective on a dramatic and exciting crime-solving journey. Detective stories are not only about unexpected cases but also lessons about intelligence, courage, and belief in justice. Please continue to watch and share so we can discover more interesting mysteries together. See you in the next stories. Don't forget, the secret is always very close, just waiting for someone observant enough to discover it.